Hey guys, today we're going over some cards that I think are honestly not that good, unless they are. So here we have Slash Draw. So Slash Draw is pretty interesting. So discard one card, send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of cards your opponent controls, then draw one card and show it. Then if it was slash draw, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy as many cards on the field as possible, then inflict 2000 damage to your opponent for each card destroyed and sent to the graveyard by this effect. If the card you drew was not slash draw, shuffle cards from your graveyard into your deck equal to the number of cards sent from your deck to the graveyard by this effect. You can only activate one slash draw per turn. So we're obviously going to focus on uh, the upper half mostly. Uh, well, not so much this part with the shuffle cards from your graveyard effect. So this will discard one card as cost. So this is essentially the same as Dark World Dealing, except it also has this kind of mill effect onto it, and this sends for cost instead of effect. So that's also a little bit different. But this also has a potential FTK effect added onto it. So let's say, for example, I have, doesn't really matter, but let's say I have 4 cards on the field, or 3 cards actually in this case, I guess, and then my opponent has 1 card. So then if my next card, the card I draw, is slash draw, the game ends there, and that's kind of crazy if you think about it that way. Just disregard the, well, if the card you drew was not slash draw, because we will simply draw slash draw right off the top, just slash draw off of slash draw and we just end the game. This can be insanely cracked when it happens, but what are the odds of this happening? Well, yeah, it's not very likely. But now moving on, we have Afterglow. Technically, this is much worse than slash draw. Like, it's not even close. So banish this card and as many Afterglow from your hand, deck, graveyard, and face-up field as possible. Then shuffle one of your banished Afterglow into the deck. During your next draw phase, reveal the card you draw for your normal draw, and inflict 4000 damage to your opponent if it is Afterglow. You can only activate 1 Afterglow per duel. Since it says you draw for your normal draw, when it says normal draw, I assume, for whatever reason, this doesn't work with Time Tearing Morganite. So, okay. I mean, this wording, I'm not completely sure. I've never seen this on a card before, so I'm not, like, that certain. And then, yeah, inflict 4000 damage? This isn't even enough for lethal. But, like, assuming it was, this would be a pretty, like, badass way to end a duel, you know? Honestly, if my opponent killed me with Afterglow, I'd have to respect it, because you see how, like, awful this card is, right? Like, it's insanely awful. If you kill someone with Afterglow somehow, Chad. That's all I can say. And this effect is once per duel for some reason. But actually, this first effect is not once per anything. But actually, is the purpose of this card that, like, whenever you just randomly have this, you can banish this and then put it back to deck? Is that the play? Is this the type of card that stops you from decking out? Well, it's not like a good way to do it, I guess. So, strange. Would this even work against Runic? Probably not, actually. You would just keep drawing into this. You don't, well, you'd be able to, like, activate this, shuffle it back, draw into it, and then rinse repeat, I guess, assuming this was the only card left in your deck. So that is interesting in that sense. But aside from that, it's like, well, burn 4000 damage once and only once? Yeah, that's pretty weird. And then we also have Cold Feet. So Cold Feet, This is almost purely negative. You cannot activate, set, or use the effects of any spell trap cards this turn. This card is so bad that it's funny as like, for example, a gift target. So if we were to gift exchange, just give our opponent cold feet, take my cold feet, and yeah, I'm sure you'll for sure activate cold feet. But also there is ref panel. Ref panel is interesting because you can technically use ref panel with cold feet to prevent your opponent from being able to activate, set, or use the effects of any spell trap cards this turn. So it's like a one-turn Lingering Floodgate that requires 2 cards, so it's a little bit jank. But I mean, technically, no, it wouldn't be good in Master Duel format, but if you knew exactly what your opponent was playing, this combo actually could be a bit of a hard-hitting one. Like, if I guaranteed knew my opponent was playing, for example, Runic, this combo hits hard, Runic Stun especially. They just won't be able to play going second, but I mean, they already can't play, so if I just do a regular combo, it kind of defeats the purpose of this, so whatever, I guess. And then, let's see. So, alongside Cold Feet, Rift Panel, there is another card that has um, similar art, right? What was it called exactly? Let's see. Heat. What wasn't it? Heat? Oh, here we go. Heatwave. So here with Cold Feet, as you can see, I think, yeah, these are the guys in Cold Feet, and then these are the same guys in like Heatwave. So same kind of monsters in the arts, I guess. So at the start of your main phase 1, either player can normal or special summon effect monsters until your next draw phase. So this is just a bit of a, well, I mean, if you could skip your next draw phase, now that would be kind of disgusting. I don't know if there's a card that allows you to do that, to make Heat Wave's effects like near permanent, but either way, this prevents your opponent from either normal or special summoning effect monsters, which, like, 99% of decks, essentially, if you're summoning a monster, it's probably going to be either a effect monster or, uh, well, an effect monster, essentially. Now, what is categorized as an effect monster, though? Gotta really check. If we do Synchro, is this an effect monster? It is. So, yeah. Any monster with an effect, I believe, is an effect monster. So, Heatwave just prevents all of these. So, stuff like tokens, I believe, and then like normal monsters should be summonable, but that's about it under Heatwave. So, not that much can be done under Heatwave. But I mean, if you were playing a normal summon deck, or not normal summon deck, like a deck that summons normal monsters, then stuff like Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi and whatnot, along with like your normal monsters and Heatwave, sounds a bit formidable. So I think the best strategy that utilizes this is normal pendulums. So this is a bit too viable for this, honestly, I think. So yeah. Aside from that, let's see what else we can cook up here. So I think I have some dumb cards here, just bookmarked. So let's see. Berserker Soul. When a monster you control inflicts 1,500 or less damage to your opponent by a direct attack, discard your entire hand, minimum 1. Excavate the top card of your deck, and if it is a monster card, send it to the graveyard. And if you do that, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Then repeat this effect up to 7 more times or until you excavate a non-monster card. If a non-monster card is excavated, place it on the top of your deck. You can only activate 1 Berserker Soul per turn. So if we inflict 1,500 and then we do this effect 8 times, 8 times 5 is 4,000. So that would be 4,000, and then minimum is, well, it says 1,500 or less. We can't go over this, so 6,500. That is only 6,500, so it's still not enough for lethal. But if you lethaled with Berserker Soul, it would probably feel hella good. But like it already has anti-synergy with itself because you would probably want to get Berserker Soul in your hand, right? But if you excavate Berserker Soul, it just doesn't work. So weird. But I mean, if you pulled this off, like it'd be sick, you know? Well, I don't know exactly like what deck you'd be playing to have this, but um, what is this? Oh, but if you were to if you were to Berserker Soul your opponent, then like for game, that'd be crazy. You know, imagine the kind of game though, like where you have just Maxi as your only normal summon, but you don't have enough for lethal. Like the board just got completely wiped, like absolutely wiped, both sides. There's like nothing much on the board. Imagine attacking with like Maxi or something, and then activating Berserker Soul. Wait, this has to be by direct attack specifically, which is weird. Okay. And then you just discard your entire hand, or at least one card. Then you just excavate monsters off your top to burn your opponent for game. Now that would be kind of sick. And then... Oh wait, what is this? You can only activate this card during your standby phase. Discard one card from your hand. Your opponent cannot normal summon set and or special summon during his/her next turn. Oh, this card is nasty, but it's not... Like, if we only focus on the effect, your opponent cannot normal summon, set, and or special summon during his/her next turn. That is pretty devastating. But you can only activate this during your standby phase, so if we go by turn 1, you can set this, and then you would have to activate this on turn 3, and then the floodgating effect takes place on turn 4. Don't remember why I had that bookmarked, but yeah, that effect would be nasty if we only focus on the effect exactly. And then we have Chain Strike, activate only as Chain Link 2 or higher, inflict 400 damage to your opponent times the Chain Link number of this card. You cannot activate this card if multiple card effects with the same name are in that chain. So Chain Strike also could be a bit nasty. Have you ever seen like Chain Link 5? And well, if you could Chain Strike to that, that would be 2k. And sometimes that could be lethal, I guess. Like, I don't know, Chain Strike is a little bit harder to justify. I don't think that would come up like that often, but I mean, yeah. Then we have Clashing Souls here. I just have some funny cards bookmarked here. During damage calculation, if your attack position monster battles an opponent's attack position monster with higher attack, the controller of the battling monster with lower attack can pay 500 LP for that monster to gain 500 attack during damage calculation only. Then keep repeating this effect until a player chooses not to pay life points. Neither player takes any battle damage from that battle. Also, after damage calculation, if any player's monster would be destroyed by that battle, send all cards that player controls to the graveyard instead. This card is actually kind of funny. So, first off, this just Zeus's your opponent if they lose the battle. So, that's crazy. And also, since there's the paying life points effect on this, if your opponent pays enough, then... Well, actually, with Clashing Souls, you don't really have much of a choice. You have to pay or you get Zeused. So, if you don't pay, that only bad things could happen from that. But if you do pay, now your life points are going to be pretty low. Because I'm assuming you would force your opponent to pay the maximum amount. And then, just like a regular burn card could just do you in. Like just something really dumb. Like, I don't know. Let's see. Goblin Thief. Literally activate Goblin Thief, your opponent could just drop dead on the spot and that would be it, you know? Just something like that. Yep. That would do it. And then, let's see. General Probe. Each time an effect of a Symphonic Warrior card is activated. Okay, so this is just the Symphonic Field spell, nothing here. So exchange is actually kind of cracked here, so I like the art. This is kind of funny. I don't know. So technically, you see Time Wizard, Dark Magician, Pot of Greed, Raigeki, and you take Raigeki for some reason. And then here we have Exodia pieces and then Mirror Force. And for some reason, they take the Exodia piece here in this art instead of Mirror Force. But I mean, I guess you can play around Mirror Force, but like, why give your opponent this Pot of Greed? Why take Raigeki? What are you going to Raigeki? Time Wizard? Like, come on. But anyways, this card is not bad. This has situational usage, actually. So this does a few good things, so exchange. So this gives hand knowledge, first off. And you can force, if you're the activating player, you can force your opponent to take a card. And usually you'll just give them just a useless card. So if I only have one card in hand while I activate exchange, they must take that one card, whatever it is, in my hand. And I can take whatever card I want from their hand, and I'll probably take the one that hurts them the most or benefits me the most, depending on whichever one. Like, if my opponent has Ash Blossom Joe Spring, I might take that. If my opponent has, let's say, Kishitira Unicorn, I'll just simply take that, and I'll assume they just have no starters now, unless they top deck one, right? So that's probably why I would take, like, a Unicorn, for example. But, like, an idea for this would be, like, for example, if I activate Utopia Double Effect, and then I grab, of course, Double or Nothing from my deck, so that gets added to my hand, I'll set the rest of my stuff, use the rest of my monsters for my combo, probably, and then activate Exchange. My opponent gets Double or Nothing. Have fun with that, I guess. That's just a card I wasn't going to do anything with, that's like discard fodder, probably. And then I'll take one of my opponent's key cards, simple as that. So, if it happens like that, it'll be insane. But I mean, going second, of course, yeah, that's not quite good, you know. Maybe my opponent doesn't even have a card in their hand. So, yes, if I pass, well, now I just have a dead card in hand, you know. So sometimes that's how these cards will go, but in that like 1 in 100 situation where they're useful, now we're talking. That's what these cards are all about. And while we're at it, yeah, you know, just a card that I think completely useless. So I believe it was called Relay Soul. Yep. Special summon a monster from your hand. While it is face up on your field, you take no damage. When it leaves the field, your opponent wins the duel. Yeah, so if Arabesque wasn't a card, this is humorous because it just says damage, no damage. So technically, if I summoned a guy, uh, just whatever guy, I take no damage, I think, right? So Mikako could not damage me no matter what monster that is. Well, if they do make it leave the field, however, I just lose, so, that's bad. But what's funny about this card is if you were to XYZ summon with the card you summon off of Relay Soul, it doesn't count as leaving the field, so your opponent does not win the duel, which is funny. But I mean, for self TK, I guess Relay Soul, pretty cracked, pretty fast way to lose yourself some games. As it happens, I somehow have no copies though. This is in Legacy, right? Yeah, sometimes you're just not lucky with it, and instead you get copies of Afterglow. Yep. So this is a pretty useless card, but I mean, yeah, you lose the duel. Hmm. There are other ways to cheat out monsters anyways that are, like, much easier than this. Like, just to show off one of them. Chronograph. So we have Chronograph. Like, if you just destroyed, like, a card in your hand with Chronograph, then you can special summon Chronograph, and then special summon any monster from your hand. Could be that simple. Yep. Now that I think about it, scale 8. I don't know if this is playable, but let's go like. Well, I can't spell. Is it like this? Nope. Up. Guardian. Then combined Soijin, not Soigin. Okay, whatever. So, what? What if you were to pen summon these guys out? I mean, the level 7. You can definitely pen summon the dark ones, for sure. That might be better, like the new support stuff that just dropped. So I don't even know what you would search to find those cards, but yeah. Labyrinth? Guardian? Or whatever. Nope, not like that. Uh, Labyrinth like this. Super confusing thinking about the spelling, but okay, so. You can pen summon this with like Pendulum Magician. And you can also make like Ancient Fairy Dragon. You also have access to Majesty's Pegasus, which can grab you Labyrinth Wall Shadow, which is not hard once per turn. It is soft once per turn. So I mean, it just randomly had that thought. Well, whatever, I guess. So let's go look for one more card. So contract on Magical Contract Door. This is pretty jank, but this can search any level 7 or 8 Dark Monster from your deck to your hand. But I mean, you just have to give a spell card from your hand to your opponent to your opponent's hand, so you just give your opponent the wording's kind of weird, but essentially you could give yourself like a the Gate Guardian level 7, I guess, so slightly relevant. And then you can give your opponent Cold Feet. I mean, consider the fact that you went -2 for this, but it is still funny, conceptually. I mean, maybe there'd be a time where it's not that bad. So, Contract Laundering. What even is this card? I've never seen this card in my life. BD Reroll. Yeah, a lot of these not looking great. Contract with 1000. I don't remember what the card was, but I believe there was a trap where you need to be fairly low life points, and then it can copy the effect of another trap card. I think that card could potentially, like, if it would come up, it would be pretty crazy that it comes up, right? So let's see if we can find that. So, trap, banish, LP. These are the keywords. So, Trap of Darkness. If your life points are 3,000 or less, pay 1,000 life points, then target one normal trap in your graveyard, except Trap of Darkness. This card's effect becomes that target's activated effect, then banish that target. So this card looks obscenely trash. But this actually has some interesting parts about this card. So first off, the effect of this card is to become the effect of that target's activated effect. So if you notice the wording on this, this means the condition to activate this effect, this doesn't matter. So just for reference, what if we have, for example, a Witch's Strike? Well, why does this say witches in it? Where does this say witches? Switches, probably. Okay, so Witch's Strike, for example, is that not a normal trap? Let's see. I thought it was. Actually, let's check like this. How do you spell it? Witch's Strike like that. Okay. So this is a normal trap, but it has the condition, this dumb condition of your opponent negates the normal or special summon of a monster or the activation of a card. Or effect, destroy all cards your opponent controls and in their hand. So this a little bit weird. So you have to get like Solemns or something like that. But, like Baron, I guess, also works. Ghost Spell. So yeah, pretty jank for Witch's Strike to just activate. But let's assume for whatever reason you have Witch's Strike in your graveyard. Activate Trap of Darkness, copying the effect of Witch's Strike. Boom. Your opponent's entire hand gone in an instant. Now that would be funny if it ever came up. But well, that's the issue with a lot of these cards. The situation just will not come up a lot of the time. What is this? Soul Strike. If your life points is 4,000 or less, when an attack is declared involving a monster you control and an opponent's monster, pay half your life points. Target one face of monster you control. It gains attack equal to the deficit between your current life points and 4,000 until the end of your opponent's turn. Wait, this card actually could come in clutch. Like, assuming the conditions are right, you have 4,000 or less LP, then you pay half your life points, you target a monster you control, gains attack equal to the deficit between your current life points and 4,000 until the end of your opponent's turn. So, if you have a really low amount, like let's say 500, then you would gain like 3,000 attack. If you do this during the damage step, this can out your opponent's monster, I guess, potentially. And then, I guess, win you the game, depending how low your opponent's life points are. Maybe they're also low, and then they just take like, I don't know, 3k-ish to the dome, and they lose. That would be funny, I guess. I mean, there's some other cards here, so... Oh god, this has a lot of text. Well, we're not reading all of these, but yeah. So that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.